single Bollinger Band touch since we started this breakout to the upside. And we may see it. Odds are we've got everybody throughout the whole day trying to short this thing, right? Very few people's actually went with a trend, unfortunately. So we've got to determine, okay, what's going to happen up here? Are we going to see shorts get paid? Finally, at that 3 o'clock rotation, or are we going to see that rotation up and squeeze some more shorts and really squeeze this thing up here to maybe this overnight, yesterday's high, right? That's a potential spot. But we got to find a backstop, right? We got to find a backstop, whether it be this Bollinger Band poke on a 5-minute. But the thing that I'm kind of looking at here is we don't have those late buyers showing up. You know what I mean? We've got a little bit of profit taking, but not a lot. You had some profit taking right here that kind of stands out. You had some a little earlier in the day, but you don't have any late buys, which tells me this isn't over. You would want to see something up in here that would indicate a late buy for a real hard reversal. So odds are this thing's going to continue up from what I'm seeing. Let's go down to a 1-minute chart and see if we can make sense of it. We got that late buy on a 1-minute chart. And it's kind of held its own, right? That's as low as it got and took right back off. Okay, let's draw this volume up here. Three o'clock has came. What are you going to do? You don't really have a late sell coming into that. You had some profit taking right here, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so maybe what we see is a retest here. Come back into the box and down to the 12 o'clock. You've got late buys. You've got early sells. It's above the cloud, closer to the Bollinger Band, the upper Bollinger Band. That's profit taking. So you've got 3 areas of profit taking. You've got really one area of late buys. Well, technically, no, you've got 2 almost. Yeah. So you got 2 areas of late buyers, right? Here and here. And you've got 3 areas of early sellers or profit takers up here. So that we could get, it don't make no sense to get short right there off the cloud. Not yet. Considering that we've shown this 3 o'clock to be support, right? So we need to understand this is support at the moment. So we need to break down below it, back up into it, and that would be opportunity to take a short. Let's dial this thing down to a 30-second chart. You've got a late sell. You've got an early buy, which is creating the support. Let's kick it down to a 15-second. Yeah, there's no Bollinger Band set up right there within that 15-second. Still nothing. Yeah, it's 5 minute error is just it's not saying anything about some some type of big rotation. You know, the likelihood of it continuing is pretty high.
Order filled.
Okay, so the best way to stay out of trouble right here, um, that I'm seeing is this. Okay, we can't confirm. Um, well, right there, you probably hold on one second.
Order filled.
Right there is a Bollinger Band poke, but we've got some conflicting messages right here. We've shown this 3 o'clock to be support by all defense, right? We've made a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower lows. Well, keep in mind this is a rotation, right? Coming down, so it could rotate up, right? But then you also got the cloud purple, which is telling you, hey, the down, the momentum is down at the moment, right? And that should, by all indication, be a sell back down to the lower Bollinger Band. You know what I mean? If you're just trying to scalp this thing, well, being that your 3 o'clock box is sitting right here, and you have to assume that this has already been support. That's hard trade to take, right? I mean, it may fill it out, but that's a tough trade to take. You don't have enough confluence right there to feel. I don't have enough confluence right here to feel comfortable. If that box was a little bit lower, yeah, I would, but not right here at it. You see, you had some more early buys come in right here. So I mean, now we got to figure out, okay, if we continue to make this support, right, this box support, how can we figure out how to get long? Um, yeah, you could take the hero trade and get long right here, off the box. But I don't like the conflicting message that I'm getting from the cloud right here. Um, so the way I would wait to take this long would be I would want to wait and see if this cloud turns back teal or whatever color. Um, and then maybe roll up and look for a Bollinger Band poke on the bottom side, above this box, because since we've already shown it to be support, and maybe buy off the bottom Bollinger Band and sell it up into, um, something similar to this, right? Wait for the cloud to show you that the momentum is up, maybe buy it right here and sell it into that 13.75, and then sell another one um, up here when you finally see one red dot that's not a repaint, something like that. That would probably be the way to play that deal. One second here. All right, guys. Hey, if any of y'all got any questions on this deal, man, ahead of it, just don't don't hesitate. Just chime in here. Order filled. I'm gonna take a small stab right here. So, how do we look to get rid of it? Right, 13.75. That's gonna be what we first target, right? 747. I mean, we had buys defend this thing here toward the low, so we have to assume that this is the right way. This is shown 3 o'clock box is shown to be support so far, so we can't say that it's not going to be support, right? The cloud is showing it to be green, which it also could turn purple right here in a hot second. Well, all that is very possible.
Risk management, if this doesn't go your way, is it just below the box there?
Do what now? I'm sorry.
You're good. For the risk management, just in case this doesn't go your way, is your stop just below the box, like the bottom of the box there, around like 28?
Yeah. Now my stop is at break even. You see how we made that high right here? And then we
Yeah.
made that lower high, and then we just made a higher high. My stop is at break even. So I have no risk on the table.
Oh, okay.
Technically, I should sell one right there. I mean, realistically, and I'm going to. Order filled. See, Bollinger Band, just boom, boom.
Is there any way you can make your chart setup here public so that we can kind of see the indicators and all that kind of thing?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Well, this is in TradingView, right? Like all of your setup here.
Yeah.
Can't you share this as like an idea or something? So essentially we can get a link and then have, the same chart setup that you have.
If you could tell me, if you could walk me through it, I'll do it. I just don't know how to do it, to be honest with you.
Okay, I'm not even sure myself. I'll have to research that, but yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. No, I don't mind a bit, man. I just there's a lot of this stuff that I don't know how to do, like some of these recordings of these videos and uploading it to YouTube. I don't know how to do none of that stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I stream and depend on the community to come in and help.
That's what it's all about, man. I love it.
Yeah. So the idea right here is right. So technically, you would buy one here, where we did there. You'd sell one there, okay. And if you could get long several, maybe sell another one at 13.75, and then the next one, just hold on to it until you see that red dot get painted. Right? Basically, that red dot's just telling you, hey, this is where it's kind of getting a little long in the tooth. You know what I'm saying? In terms of an RSI goes, and a lot of people look at that stuff. So, I don't look at this for anything other than like take profits. You know what I mean? Just a spot to take one off. And that went right to that 13.75.
And where'd you come up with 13.75? Is that just like a back tested take profit amount based on this setup?
It's just the way it works. Like, if you find yourself in a good trend, and you can do this with any market, just take and measure when the thing is walking up in a trend and just say, okay, 13.75, it builds a little bit of structure. 13.75, it builds a little bit of structure, right? And you find that in any instrument you're trading, like, the NQ, for instance, is 13.75 typically. And then, the ES and the RTY, it typically builds around 4 points of structure. So you get like a up move of 4 points, and then it'll build a little bit of structure, kind of like what this is doing, and then it's going to move another 4 points and build a little bit more structure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's all.
the idea of that is that if you're on the lower band, you should be able to get 13.75 because it's the NASDAQ, because that's just how the NASDAQ moves.
That is correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
But that's a simple momentum trade, right? I mean, we kind of put it together that, the 3 o'clock box was shown as support, and you had these early buys come in down here, that supported the idea, right? That this would be support. So we could kind of feel confident buying it, but we needed to see that Bollinger Band poke to buy it. And that's what we did, or I did. I don't know if you guys did too, but nonetheless, that you can take these little scalps like this all day long at 13.175. There's a boatload of them,
Hey Magnum, I got a question.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going? That's my
Good,
question.
That's cool. It was a pretty good day, man, except standing at a damn tire store for about 5 hours. Jesus.
It took you that long to get tires?
Man, I had to get 10 tires put on my truck, and they had to go get 4 tires from their warehouse, and it just took forever. I was just like, you guys are killing me. Yeah, it was rough. Thank God.
Yeah, that's a long day right there.
Yeah, for it to be at a damn tire store, it is.
Yeah. Nice, man.
But anywho, it's done and over with, man. These rainy days, though, you got to take advantage of them. In my, the industry that I'm in, it's just sunny days. You take full advantage of them. Let's see.
Did you catch any of that 15-minute plus last night? The A plus.
I did, man. Let me see what I got. Let me see what it did.
That little, I went back and watched one of your other streams where you're saying your stop loss should be at the bottom of that wick on that candle that you boxed in.
Yep.
That made so much sense, man. But I got wicked out of that trade last night, and I said, okay, I'll come in again. But if I had let it sit, that would have been a nice trade.
Order filled.
I don't know who's running over who in terms of Mike.
It's TRD.
Okay, yeah, he muted himself. Cool. I was trying to throw you up there. I took a very small position on that long though, because if you noticed how long that wick was on that 15-minute box last night, it was huge. So I mean, there was a ton of risk on the table on that trade. So I was able to take some drawdown with just some small size, but.
I think there was another one that set up afterwards, like right around 8 or so. I'm not looking at my chart right now, but there was another one around the same area right before open, and that's where the impulse came in, and it was just buy. No red candles after that one, but it was around the same area.
I throwed a picture up of that trade that I took last night off that 15-minute.
Just think that the robin might tail is 5 inches long with the and I believe.
Hey guys, somebody else's mic is out or open.
Yeah.
Stop filled.
Like, how does this even happen?
There we go.
You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. Check your damn mic before you come in freaking voice chat, Oh.
What's going on, brother?
What's happening, Kevin? Look at him. The man himself.
I'm listening to the man.
Jeez.
Hey,
And
I was thinking it's funny. All the guys always forget to turn off their mics. They're either like at a cafeteria or like they're never just at home.
it's insane.
Hey,
It
did you
is
get those
insane.
did you get those monster truck wheels?
Yeah, man. Jesus, $2,600 later.
Good God.
Yeah. Yeah, tires for trucks ain't cheap, man.
I gotta trade some rubber contracts.
What we got going on here? We have busted through the box. Okay, so now where we're going to target, right? All right, so we're thinking, how can we get involved right here for a short down to this 12 o'clock? All right, so we got late buys come in. That's not good. And we got late sells, early buys. That is not pretty. How can we do this? How can we do this? All right, so it does not make sense to take a short off the box. Doesn't make sense to take a short off the cloud. The only way that we can make sense, that I can make sense of this, is if this Bollinger Band comes down in here, and we're showing support of the momentum to the downside, and we wick back into that Bollinger Band, and I would trade it back down to the lower Bollinger Band. This time, I think I may take a couple different contracts and target 13.75, or target the lower Bollinger Band, 13.75, and the 12 o'clock box, if it works out that way. But we haven't shown it to be resistance. We broke resistance, but we haven't shown it to be. Damn, Team Gain, I just run all over you there, man. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Hey, I'm just listening.
This thing is puking, man.
Where are the dots?
It's just an RSI indicator.
Oh, okay.
I think it's what it's called. Yeah. The inputs on it's like 70, 68 and 32. That's what it is. RSI. The dots are.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So whenever the RSI gets down, damn, this thing's going to go without me, man. Right down to that 12 o'clock box. And the way I use them, typically I don't use them on a 5-second chart, but I mean, this is pretty heavy right here. This is a wicked sell-off. So if I got short, say, for whatever reason, I found reason to get short up here, I would take one off at 13.75, one off at 13.75. And when I started seeing the green dots, I would start unloading a little bit more of my position. You know what I mean?
I see.
Yep. That's the only reason I use them. Because a lot of people look at RSI. And if they're willing to buy when the RSI gets down here, I'm willing to sell. Because typically I'm already in pretty good position, Anybody ever traded coffee futures by any chance?
No, sorry, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah, man.
What that reminds me of is kind of an obscure Disney movie called Jungle to Jungle, if anybody's ever heard of it, with Tim Allen. He trades coffee futures. It's kind of funny that you brought that up.
I've never seen it. I've been looking at them. They look pretty easy to trade, to be honest with you.
So Magnum, to share the chart that you're looking at, it's pretty simple. If you wanted me to just kind of privately message you after the stream, so I'm not kind of disrupting everything, and then I can post the link in the futures room, that'd be cool. I'm sure someone else would like to take a look at it in TradingView if that's cool with you.
Yeah. Are you talking about being able to share it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, you'll just enable sharing and then just copy the link, and I can show you exactly how to do that from the desktop app.
Awesome.
After the stream or after the market close here in a little over half an hour, if that's cool.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan to me, man. Oh, this thing ain't gonna let us take apart. It doesn't look like. Does not look like. I can't even find a reason why to go short up here. You know what I mean? It didn't give us the retest to go short off of a box. I don't see anything up here that says reversal.
I saw some divergence on the RS side, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could have been it. Very well could have been it.
Are you still targeting that 14-1, 1400s on that other trade that you have with the 9 left? Or are you long biased now?
No, man, I ain't unbiased at all. I mean, I'm still targeting right down in here. Now granted, you know, I could be dead wrong. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Like until, I just don't think I'm gonna get an opportunity to get this thing short. Maybe at 712, but then that don't give me enough. I mean, the box would be 13.75, right? Jeez. Oh, but the risk is much higher because we didn't back test that, right? So I would like to say, yeah, you could take a short off this Bollinger Band, you know, as a momentum play. But knowing that we didn't back test this right here, it very well could just come right here and just keep ripping and try to back test that box. You know what I mean? So it probably wouldn't make sense. Like you're taking on more risk. You know what I mean? Than maybe you should have. Because ideally, right, you should have took that short right there and targeted the Bollinger Band or targeted the box. Right? That's kind of what that tells you. But then you got to think, okay, well, shit, we didn't backtest the box. So this thing could just rip, right? And for you to stay in the trade, you would say have to be wrong right here, which you would have just got stopped out. Or slide your stop up here, and now all of a sudden your risk reward is not there. You know what I mean? Like that does not make sense at all. You know? No, you wouldn't have got stopped out yet. You'd come close, but you wouldn't have got stopped out. But then again, that right there could have been an over and under. You know what I mean? And an A plus over and under. You know what I mean? Just think could puke more. But ideally, right, what you'd want to see in a scenario like this, like you see this volume bar right here at 1523. So you would probably want to see something like that up here. You know what I mean? At the top of this Bollinger Band to really get excited and say, okay, you know, yeah, that's another piece of confluence that I could use to take that short. You know what I mean? Which would indicate you had some late buyers come in, you know, but you didn't. But that trade would have worked. But I don't know. The risk reward wasn't there for me. Honestly. Wasn't worth it. The huge gap, isn't it? Sheesh. I was counting my boxes. I don't normally draw a 3 o'clock box, so I was thinking, what in the world do I got going on over here? Confusing me. But if you're trading at 3 o'clock hour, I mean, it's important to have it, you know.
What's the significance of that? Is it just because again, it's just kind of consistent for 3 Eastern for there to be a consistent move to kind of base trades off of for the last hour?
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand on each of one of these, you've got market participants coming in with wads of cash. The thing about the 3 o'clock hour is it's not so much you got folks coming in with wads of cash, but you got folks that are unwinding their positions for the day, at the end of the day.
Right.
And then you also got the folks that are trying to position for the next day. So that's kind of the significance of it. But the most important box that you'll ever have on your charts, that yellow one right here, the closing range, because it's these buyers, those, and those all agree that this was the fair price to close it, right? So, you'll use this box throughout the whole next day, or not this box, but we're using this was Monday's closing range. So we're using it Tuesday, but and you can see how well it respects it, right?
Right.
And then typically the way I look at this is if we can stay above the closing range deal, I look for bullish behavior, typically. But one of the biggest things about these boxes, man, is it just gives you context throughout the day. Like without these boxes, you would have just seen price falling down and you'd been like, well, I don't know where it's going. There's a huge gap down here. You know what I mean? To the next, down to the early part of the day. Well, it just kind of brings context into your day. You never kind of really you never really lost, and you always have something to target,
Yeah, I really like that because when you're in between the ranges, you have an idea of where targets should be, and that can be your locate. So it really makes sense.
I don't see anything on the volume profile to give me any kind of hope.
Still use that 310 oscillator, or we found volume just to be more reliable?
Do what now? I'm sorry.
I was wondering if you still had used that 310 oscillator that you used back in May, maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I'm trading a different strategy, if I feel like trading the the Magna Cloud strategy or whatever, I'll slap that on there, and because I mean it's the whole principle of the Magna Cloud, when the zero line crosses. But for divergences, I mean, if you're using your Bollinger Bands, like, as long as you had a low right here and you had a lower low, but it pulled away from the band, well, that's a divergence right there, right? Otherwise, it would continue riding the band. So if you had a 310 oscillator up, you would know already, hey, there is a divergence. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey Mag, what's the highest size you've scalped out on short term off the BB the Bollinger Band strategy? What's the maximum contracts you've scalped out on, let's say, a 1 minute or 15 second without really providing liquidity to get caught.
Yeah, so if you're trading these little 15-second charts or 30-second charts, it's hard to use more than like 9 orders. You know what I mean? Not 9 orders, but because I'm trading in blocks of 3. So typically 9 total contracts, so 3 separate, you know what I mean? 3 separate orders. So 3 in, 3 out.
Gotcha.
Now, if I'm trading on a 5-minute chart, it's a whole different ballgame. Then you can scale up to 20, 30, whatever you want to, kind of really whatever you want.
Yeah, there's a whole different level of volume at a 5-minute than it is on 15-second. They'll catch you right off the bat.
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. And that's just problems you deal with an illiquid market. You know what I mean? Like on ES, hell, it don't matter. You could smack a, short 15 or 20 right here, and they have no problem filling you. You know what I mean? The book is just so thick everywhere, But again, you don't get that kind of, you don't get these kinds of moves on an ES either.
Have you played the BB, or do you use the BB strategy on ES?
I do. I just, the ES is such hit or miss. Like, you cannot ever just, if you're trading the ES, you might get 4, 5, 6, 8 points of movement out of it, and 10, 12, and that's a lot, but it's a whole different pound for pound. You're gonna get more bang for your buck trading the NQ. You know what I mean? So I just kind of stick with the NQ just because it's makes it's really better business, honestly.
Gotcha. Thank you. You got to jump on natural gas, man. I know Faceless isn't here, but he would be the only other person who would jump on natural gas right now.
Natural gas. He's chopping. I don't know though.
But on a higher time frame, you look at it, it's getting up to the some monthly levels on natural gas, and you get some real nice volatility off of the rejections or acceptance of those levels, and it shoots. It's a little illiquid compared to NQ. So you put in a contract or two, you could run it. Overnight margin is only 5K on it, and you can make pretty good bang on it depending on what location you kind of set that trade up on.
Are you finding yourself having trouble getting out in terms of, that's the hardest part, right? Getting out without that slippage, but I guess if you're talking bigger moves, then that probably wouldn't, you wouldn't feel it as much, but.
Yeah, I've been looking at it with the BB strategy on 15-minute. So I do hold those overnight. That's on my personal account because it's only 5K margin on it.
Yeah.
I'll hold 1 or 2 contracts out, and it does a decent job. But but again, like dollar for dollar intraday is 2,500 day margin on it. So you really have to be spot on at the right location. But those monthly levels, if I picked up a few of those peaks up there, kind of nice. But intraday, it's a little different. Today had a 10% move up, man. Crazy.
10% move up. That's insane. So here's one thing that I was I was saying earlier that I would wanted to see on to feel confident about a short, and I wasn't even looking at it. I was looking at a different chart, but see, I was telling you about how those late buys come in, on the upper range of the Bollinger Bands, so you had a late buy show up, and it was up here on the Bollinger Band poke. So, you've got momentum telling you down. The only thing that we don't have that's kind of sucks is the retest of this box. But nonetheless, you could take that and still have a marginally small stop because, you're going to be right or wrong really, really quick on the scalp. But you had a case to do it right. You knew you had downside. You had somewhere to target. Momentum was telling you down via the cloud. And you kind of hit the extreme side of it with late buyers. So you could took a short here, pulled it 13.75, and then targeted the other one down here at the box, and keep one and just move it down here to minimally break even and wait for a green dot to show up. You know what I mean? And it may not show up. But, at the worst case scenario, you're going to break even on it. You're not going to lose any money. That would be one way you could play that. But
What's the name of those dots indicator?
Huh?
What's the name of that RSI dot indicator again?
Did you say show it to you? Is that what you said?
Yeah, the name. GRSI. All right, I got it.
Yeah. And that's one good way that you can help kind of stay in the trade a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Like you could have gotten short here. I don't know. If, for whatever reason, say you got short here, got out at 13.75, and then just another 13.75. But you could also get out when you see one of the first green dots. It just helps you know where to get out a little better. Where's a little long in the tooth at. That's kind of a pisser. I didn't see this because I was just talking about this a minute ago. All right, so let's mark that up. Now, how could we trade this? 13.75. You'd got out right there. All right. And another at the box. And then we just wait until a green dot shows up and you've got your stop slid, right? So as soon as you break that low and you make a lower low, move your stop to break even. That's always what I do. You know what I mean? Once you make that low and you make that lower low, pull that stop to break even. No need to have because once you made that low, right? I mean, you could have used that one actually. But once you make that low, there's no need to. I mean, you're almost in a winning trade, so there's damn sure no need to letting a winning trade turn into a losing trade. That's just stupid. So move that stop to break even, and just you done got paid on too, so you could just sit here and wait for a green dot to show up. Which it looks like that's being supported at the moment. You got early buys coming in right here at the bottom. I think odds are we try to rotate back up into retesting this. But if you were still long one, say you were long one right here represented with the horizontal line, still long from up here, I wouldn't keep it
filled.
there. I would probably pull it right down here, just right above, at lower high. And if it took you out, it's not a break even. You still made some money, maybe 6.5 or whatever it was. But you're not putting it in harm's way because you got the cloud that should act as some type of resistance. You have the Bollinger Band that should act as some type of resistance, and the previous high, that it shouldn't make a higher high, right? Unless it's trends trying to change. Or unless the NQ just tries to do NQ things and be crazy. That's possible too. But this thing's so screwy, man. It's like, think if you were these guys, right, per se, that you said, okay, well, this thing, let's run through the psychology of what the hell happened here. Because I was this guy at some point in my life. You've seen all this coming down, 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 and you got all these folks looking at RSI, and they're like, oh, yes, this is beautiful. Time to buy. Well, they start buying or whatever. And then price makes a higher high, right? And as soon as it does, you've got a bunch of people jump up on it. Well, next thing you know, they've jumped up on it, and next thing you know, they're going to run price right back against them. You know what I mean? And they're going to squeeze every single one of them out. Okay. And when they start squeezing every one of them out, you're going to find some more early buys show up down here, which most likely will run price back up against their face. Squeeze them out of their position. And I don't know, maybe they haven't got squeezed out of their position yet, but at some point, that's the idea. You've got these late buys that come in, and then they get squeezed out of their position right here, only for the smarter folks to come in at a lower price and buy it up and send it back up to wherever they targeted to begin with. That's typically how it works. Typically how it works. But you definitely had an early buyer show up right here. Somebody believed in this box. Indoor Bollinger Band, either or. But nonetheless, you seen what was going on right here, and you knew already probably to take that short, and you've done got paid on 2 of your shorts, and you're just chilling, right?
Holy crap! I was short. All right, man. Ooh.
Now you see that green dot right there?
Oh,
that is where
it's gonna 71.
There's where you took your profit. Now you're slap out of all of them. You see? Oh, the green dot didn't paint. It took it away. I would have gotten out right there as soon as it painted.
Mag on the futures Discord, I posted a level. There's a 11.4% retracement on the entire COVID up. I think that's a pretty big level, and it's trying to hit it right now. It's about the 70 range. So you're short, kind of hit it right on spot on that.
I see what you're saying here.
And it was a confirmation with the channel and a little bit of Yep. Can take out my last 5. I was short 15 on that, man. That was beautiful setup on that.
Nice. Well, anyhow, that's pretty cool. How so? At least everybody got to see how the green dots are used, right? And how, if I wasn't a dumbass and looking at 15-second chart and looking at 30-second chart, how you use that late buys, 13.75 sell out, and then keep that one for for the RSI buyers to create your liquidity for you.
Magnum, you probably went over this, or it may be a dumb question, but what do you mean by late buyer?
I meant. Oh, right here. That's a late buyer. So think of this middle, right? Think of the middle between these Bollinger Bands as the mean, per se. Okay? Because you have to, and for this to make sense. All right, anything that buys below that medium or below that mean is in an early buy. Anything that buys above it is a late buy, especially in a downtrend, right? Because basically, I mean, if you didn't have any of this on your chart, what you're seeing is a downtrend, a pullback, and a continuation of the downtrend, right? But what this allows you to do is quantify where that pullback's going to happen, right? And where the top of it is. Well, the top of it is always going to be where suckers get suckered into buying this move, right? So you got to think, right? You had RSI traders that are watching this thing, or lower indicator traders, whatever, momentum traders, whatever you wanted to use, because all of them were screaming the same thing, I'm sure, that were trying to buy this down through here. Well, next thing you know, you made a high, right? You kind of made a little bit of a high, and you had folks jump in. You made a higher high, and they're like, oh, this thing's going to go. Well, you didn't make a lower low. So all of a sudden, you've got folks piling in, and then where the most amount of folks piled in is up here at this upper part, which allowed us to say, okay, we know momentum was down via the cloud. You had late buyers come in up here at the top of this Bollinger Band. So that is the ideal spot to take your short, right? And it puts you in a spot to where you can have the least amount of risk on the table and hopefully be right about it, As you can see, you see how there's so much volume come up in here, and the candle closed at the top of it, right? That lets you know that there was late buyers. Early buyers would have been anybody that bought down here, These are late buyers. And the idea is that you want to trap these people and squeeze price against them, right? And let them sell into you.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Magnum, just so I can understand. So essentially, people that looked at the RSI, did they see divergence? Like I'm trying to understand the psychology. They said they saw divergence going up. Bullish divergence, and then they're thinking, okay, so we're gonna have a trend change. And essentially they got trapped. So for okay.
Yeah, if you can imagine this right here. So you had price run down the Bollinger Band, right? Pull back a little bit, run right back down to it. So RSI, I'm sure, made a lower low right here at 1523, probably. Okay. Well, the next thing you know, the next move down, the RSI was a little bit higher. The next move down, the RSI was a little bit higher. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden, you're not making lower lows. You follow me? But you got to think, okay, well, momentum's telling us it's down. Okay. And then you have the idea of, oh man, I've got folks coming in here buying the top of this thing. Well, as you've seen, they bought the very, very top of it. And that is the most indicative thing of a turnaround you'll see is volume come in at the top of this Bollinger Band. And typically that's where price will roll over. And that's what they were seeing. They were gobbling this up, this divergence. Not, and hey, sometimes it works. You know what I mean? Sometimes it will work. But then, you get these times where it don't work, and when it don't work, it sucks pretty bad for them, as you can see. But you're getting the same thing right here, right now. Of course, it's a little late in the tooth, but you had RSI traders see this thing come down, come up. Well, it didn't pull back into that Bollinger Band, so this is technically a higher low if you're looking at an RSI or any really lower momentum indicator type deal. So there's a divergence right now, but
Did
then
you buy? Okay.
But then you got to think, okay, well, what do we need to see to get involved in this? Well, there's nothing to do right here because everybody that's participating right now is about to get screwed. You know what I mean? They're not going to get basically this right here is this right here. You know what I mean?
I'm not able to see this the stream because there's too many people, but yeah, it's okay. I'm just wondering, did you get in based on where the cloud's position, or was it a box, or?
No, you see, the idea would be the Bollinger Band poke at the high, at the late buyers where the late buyers showed up. That is the Bollinger
Hey,
Band.
I'll get out. You could get in.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
That's mighty nice to do that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Can
you see?
Yeah, I can see now.
Okay, so the dots coming down right here are representative of the oversold in the RSI. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have my dots set to 68 and 32. So if this thing gets below 32, these dots start showing up. Okay. So if you can see price coming down, I don't have an RSI indicator on here, but I can imagine this what it looks like. It's below 32, and all of a sudden it's coming down, and at 1523, it starts to pull away and start making higher lows. You know what I mean? It starts diverging right in here.
Oh, I see.
Right? And then all of a sudden you're looking down here at volume and you're saying, okay, well, there is some early buyers showing up right here, because they're buying below that median, right? Well, if you're buying down here, you got to be targeting something small. If you are this guy, you could buy here and sell at the top of the Bollinger Band. And that's nothing wrong with that, but that's probably the only way you could play that. But the momentum is down via the cloud. See that. All right. And as price rolls through here, you start watching volume. And you want to see late buyers, right? And that's anybody that comes in here and buys this thing above the median, right? Above the mean, so to speak, the middle. And there you go. You got to see it right here at the very top of that Bollinger Band. Right. And that's a momentum play anyhow. So you can sell the top of the Bollinger Band with any type of poke. And honestly, it just works out a lot better when you see that volume come in at the top, which lets you know you had people that bought, and then they seen no lower lows being put in place after this low, right? It never closed to make a lower low. Okay. And then all of a sudden it made a higher high right here in relation to 2. And then it made a higher high, which made folks pile on board, and they probably had limit orders sitting up here, quite frankly, to like market order or to limit them in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they all piled in on this one candle. and it shot up, and all of a sudden they sold the market back off against them and trapped everybody that got long up here. Well, as if you've ever been in a losing trade, I'll show you the psychology that's happening right here. Okay. So if you can imagine, it'd be easier for me to do it with this. All right, say you got long right here, and you're like, oh, great. I mean, a little bit of money, you had a little bit of green trade going on right there, and all of a sudden, you start seeing price come against you, and you're like, oh, God, oh, God. All of a sudden, you had price come to here, and you're looking at this lower support, and you're saying, okay, whew, thank goodness. I'm about to get saved. Maybe it'll start to climb up here, and it got almost right back to your break even, and you didn't take the trade off. Only a few minutes later to just really get smacked in the head. You know what I mean? And you're thinking to yourself, I could have took it off right there and only had that much of a loss. Now I'm dealing with this much of a loss, right? And so now you
This much of a loss, right?
Yeah. You were literally watching emotion play out right there, all off of that one entire candle. And that's how it plays out. So and that's why it intensifies as it goes down through here. You know what I mean? That's kind of what you see.
Okay. Wow.
But how you would have played that as short, which you didn't get to see, was okay. Well, you got short off the Bollinger Band, right? And you sell at 13.75, and we'll pull 13.75 since you didn't get to see it. Right there. So you sold one there, and this is if you're trading minis or micros. It don't matter. I mean, if you're trading micros and you're trading 4 or 5 or whatever, you can do this. Take one off at 13.75. You can take one off at the box or the lower Bollinger Band, either or. And then if you're trading some more, you only take them off when you see a green dot, which this dot repainted. This first big candle had a green dot on it. So you didn't actually get lost. You didn't cut them loose there. But say, for instance, you got in right here. Where's your stop loss? Okay, let's put your stop loss at 6.5 points above your entry. Okay, and I'm going to indicate that with that yellow line. All right, so that's your initial risk. Okay, your initial risk is half of your reward. You are targeting 13.75, so you minimally have 2-to-1 risk, which is great. You're risking half as much as you're willing to make. Okay, now say the trade. I'm gonna go ahead and take these red lines off because it's gonna be easier for you to see what I'm about to do. And I'll take this off because it'll be easier to see what I do. So that's your initial risk. Your entry was here. All right. Yeah, you had price go against you a little bit, but then it come right back into it. So you were good. So this was your entry. You want to see a low be put in, right? So you want to see that low, right? And you want to see the higher, you want to see the lower low be put in. So you had the lower low be put in. Okay, as soon as you see that put in and closed, because it closed below this open, right? That candle right there, closed below that open. Take your stop and move it to break even. So you had 30-second chart, right? So you've got 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 30 seconds that you had an initial risk of 6.7 or 6.5 points. So now we can take that off. All right. So now you are at minimal going to break even. So this is, you had to suffer through 2.5 minutes of risk. Now, how do you adjust the risk moving forward as the trade plays out? Okay. There again, you're 13.75. And then you're targeting either the Bollinger Band or you're targeting the box. It doesn't matter, whichever. Let's just assume that everybody went 3 short right there. 3 minis, whatever it is, 3 micros. Who knows? Okay, now how do you manage your stop? All right, so you sold one at 13.75, and you sold the other one at the Bollinger Band, and you want to let the rest ride till you see that green dot, and there again, that dot repainted, so you would have got out right over here. Take this right here, your stop, and once you've already gotten filled on a couple of them, and you have made an actual lower high, which means it come in and rejected off, right? And it made that lower low. You follow? So once you've made that happen, pull that stop well below break even, just a couple ticks above that high, because you shouldn't be making higher highs if this is going to continue. You know, by all definitions, a trend is defined by lower highs and lower lows. So you should be making a higher high if this trade's going to work. You know, and so that's the idea. Just pull it down in behind it. So that way you're no longer taking, a break even up here on the remainder of your position. You're taking, maybe 6 points. I don't know what that is. Say you were good. Well, there you go. So you're making 5 points, right? Instead of just a break even. And that's how you could have played that whole entire trade right there. And by running it against all these other folks, trapping these guys up here, that's the whole idea of the trade. I don't know. Got any questions, man? I hope that helps you a little bit in terms of what I was seeing there.
Hey Magnum, for someone new at this strategy, do you have like a recommended time frame to focus on?
Stay between a 5 and a 1 minute chart.
Okay.
Things develop pretty quick right here on a 30-second chart.
Mhm.
And it ain't going to take you long. I mean, there's nothing super special about the strategy. It's just once you just get comfortable with it and familiar with it, you'll be able to see this stuff a mile away, Sometimes, I mean, you'll find a 5-second chart being too slow,
Jeez.
You're having to wait, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't just, you know what I mean? You just take trades as they come. So, just start with a 5 minute and a 1 minute and just work off those. If you're intraday, I don't really think that you can work much more off of a higher time frame than 5 minute being intraday, to watch the moves develop,
Mhm.
Trading like a 15 or 30 minute or something. It's just the moves don't develop quite throughout the day. So it may take a couple days for the move to develop on a 30-minute chart,
Mhm.
typically. But one thing we can do right here real quick is we can go ahead and delete this closing range because it no longer has value to us, and input today's closing range in. It's gonna be tight too. Oh, I'm on a 30-second chart. Sorry, need to be doing that on a 1 minute chart. I do that more times than I should, to be honest with you. Realize it later. All right, so that's the closing range that we're going to use for all day tomorrow and overnight or whatever,
Why that candle specifically?
Because I mean, you have the imbalances and everything being settled right here, right? I mean, this is the granddaddy of them all, where buyers and sellers met to create that closing price. And you're going to find that settlement. So if you use settlement or you play settlement or whatever you do, typically settlement's going to be inside this closing range.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Somewhere within this range is going to lie settlement.
Mhm. No, I see what you mean now. All right, I
Yeah.
didn't see that. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Wouldn't that be considered going against the trend? Like, I don't know. How do you know if the market's going to reverse? I guess that's what I'm.
And I don't know what you mean. What you mean by that?
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, like if we you're using the strategy where if we make a higher high and then it comes back into the box, it's usually an indication of a trend change, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
It can't just be random, right? It can't be, let's just say 11 o'clock during the day. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was a little bit of a reversal, but it can't be random. You know what I mean? You've got times of day that things tend to reverse. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the other day I was going over some stuff of you have rotation times, right? Well, yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning is typically where a lot of volume come in. You know what I mean? And you could say, okay, well, if you wanted to just draw a trend line right here, right? You could say, okay, well, the market was in a downtrend till 3 o'clock in the morning and it broke out. You know what I mean? That's not a rotation, realistically. All that is there's some buyers that showed up and shot this thing to the north. You know what I mean? But realistically, the rotation happened down here at 2:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
But if you draw that box where money come in, right? Money's there, so therefore money most likely is going to support that out into the future. Well, you can say, all right, well, is this a rotation? Well, it damn sure looks like one to me because you had a trend come up and then come back down and took off. You follow? That is you had a downtrend and it had a rotation up, right? So that's how that.
Are you putting a box? Are you putting a box around the exact? I guess the exact candle at 3 o'clock, 6, 9.
Yeah. Let me show you real quick.
Yeah.
Scoot over here to here's a 9 o'clock one, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. So you see that 9 o'clock candle right there, right? And you see the 9 o'clock volume. Well, you had volume falling away from the 9 o'clock on either side.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's your box. Embody the body. Box the box. Excuse me. Good Lord, I can't talk. Box the body of the candle, and that's all you do. And sometimes it can get tricky, like yeah, right here, like 6 o'clock in the morning. It was a little tricky. You had to kind of really look at it, because it was actually 6:01 that had the most amount of volume, but it was falling away on both sides of it. You know what I mean? But at 6:05, 6:06, it had more volume, but you wouldn't really care about that. It's right around that 6 o'clock hour, and then 3 o'clock in the morning, which 3 o'clock's a little more obvious, because that, a lot of volume comes in around 3 in the morning. Oh, Lord.
So, wow, we look at that. Okay.
But that, I mean, that's how it works, man. That's how it works.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. I remember watching the videos. I didn't really understand. I was putting boxes pretty much around the highest or the lowest candle that had the most volume, regardless of how close it is to the time slots. Okay, now I understand. Wow. Okay, so you're literally putting it right when that market opens.
That's it. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
And it's not so much like, say, for instance, none of this time exists yet, right? And we're just looking at 12 o'clock today. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, like 12 o'clock it's kind of tricky, right? Because it's low volume. You know what I mean? In a relative sense to what's around you, to the left. But so 12 o'clock had the most amount of volume and it was falling away from it on either side of it. So there's my box, and that's why 12 o'clock mattered. But if when you draw that box, you don't really care about that box right then and there. You know what I mean? Because it's not like that's where it happens. You know what I mean? That's not where the trade's gonna happen. The trade is out here. You know what I mean? Like this kind of stuff where it pulls back, it takes back off. Those are the trades that matter. And like right here, if momentum's coming down and you're looking to take a short, well, that's what you target is that 12 o'clock box. And that's what I was meaning by, having these boxes just gives you context throughout the whole entire day. You're never lost. So if say you didn't have this 12 o'clock box, you know what I mean? Say it was gone and you took that short right there. Well, hell, what do you target? It's like, it's hard to target much. I mean, you can look over here and try to find something, but it's very evident that 12 o'clock box mattered. You know what I mean? Because look at what price come down, come up, come down, and it stayed there. And then it finally broke through it. So that 12 o'clock box, it really matters,
You may have already covered this, but why the 3, 6, 9, 12 specifically?
It's just where market participants show up to play ball, where they come in with a lot of cash or they're either exiting positions, around them times or they're restructuring around those times. That's just, kind of the way the market's structured in terms of when people go to work.
So let's say, you put the box there at 12 o'clock. Why didn't, let's say, hypothetically, why didn't you get in when it hit the box over there around, what is that, 4, around 4, I'm not sure when it hit it, or 3:30, I'm not sure what that is.
Why didn't I get long right here?
Yeah, let's say, it hit the box, you see, why not get in? I guess you would need to see the Bollinger Bands as well, but is it because we're making lower lows? We see a downtrend coming, or
where's my Bollinger Bands? Damn, did I delete my Bollinger Bands? What the hell? Huh. I don't know what happened to my Bollinger Bands. Wow. I must have deleted. I was going through like finding stuff or something. Let me fix it real quick. I can't do shit without them. With this.
The cloud that you're using on TradingView there, what's it called?
Best Cloud all MA.
Best Cloud?
Yeah, Best Cloud.
Okay.
All moving average. Close EMA.
Okay.
Damn, I don't know how I deleted these things. That is crazy. I guess I just wasn't paying attention, and I don't know. I don't know how that happened. Man, I'm sorry. I about half-assed listening to your questionnaire because I was realizing I deleted some of the stuff off my chart.
No.
So you were asking, why did I not take a long off this? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
Okay. So once the first retest is going to be the best test of anything that you do in technical analysis, right? The first test is always the best test. So when you broke above it and you come back into it, yeah, it didn't actually touch it, but that's close enough. You know what I mean? Especially being it's at a Bollinger Band, which is kind of deemed the extreme, right? And then price continued to run off of it. So that would be number one why I would not want to ever take a long off of it over here. Second would be the momentum fell out, right? So when you see that cloud turn purple, that's not a great time to be looking to counter trend back to the upside when you're playing only these boxes. You see?
Yeah.
Now, if I was to see a Bollinger Band set up in this, I could probably feel a little more comfortable taking a long here and targeting this 3 o'clock box, considering we never retested it. Right? But we never got anything saying, hey, a long is setting up right here, other than just a retest of that box. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. You wouldn't have put a box on that candle over there at was it 3 o'clock? I think it's 3 or 2:55.
Right here?
Yeah, around 2:55. No. On the green candle at the top.
Right here?
At the left. On the left. Right
Here.
there.
No.
Would you have? No.
Mm-mm. Now you could put one right here, and I'll show you the difference between the two. Okay, so you see how we made the Bollinger Band poke? We didn't make a higher high after that. Okay. Now right here is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So you made the high with the poke of the Bollinger Band, and now you've made a higher high and never poked that Bollinger Band. So that right there is indeed a divergence, right? So I would box the body of the candle that poked the Bollinger Band. And now what I would be looking for over here would be for price to come down and come back up and poke that Bollinger Band again inside this box or close to this box. You're right. And then take off. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that, because I have seen this setup work a bunch right here is if you see a Bollinger Band poke, just box that thing. And if you see another Bollinger Band poke come up in here and it just rockets and sells off, right? I have seen this trade work so many times, but realistically, it's kind of an add-on to what an actual A+ setup constitutes as. But I'll be damned, man. I've seen this trade work out more times than not. So, taking that trade, I see nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
Especially being that it comes up into a Bollinger Band right there at it.
When you put a box around a red candle right there, at the bottom that you put I believe you put a box there at the red candle at around 3:05. Sorry, the box that you drew right there at 3 something at the bottom left. Right on the left. Right there. Yeah. That on that red candle. Now you drew that box so that you can find an opportunity going on the upside or going down.
Yeah. So I was looking for the upside for the fact of we were not showing. I was looking at it on a 5-minute chart.
Okay.
So we had a ton of momentum, right? Coming all throughout the day. And I was looking on a 5-minute chart to say, okay, I seeing like late buyers up here anywhere, and I was looking all over this thing. I cannot find a single late buyer. You know what I mean? None of them are showing down here as far as late buyers go. So I was thinking, okay, well, we probably will just come on that 3 o'clock box and bounce off and continue to run. That's what I was thinking based off of 5-minute chart. And so then I come back down to the lower time frame And that's where I started finding some late buyers, you know. And I said, okay, well, we may break down to the 12 o'clock box, you know. Because then you started seeing, all right, well, you had late buyers here, you had late buyers up here, you know what I mean? With these volumes
Yeah.
coming in. And once we broke down below that box, I had to assume that it's going to become resistance, right? Because that it showed to be support on the 1 minute.
Okay.
And once it broke below it, I have to assume that it's going to assume to be resistance, you know, and that's supported by we made the lower high, lower low, and we have the cloud telling us, hey, you know, it's the momentum is down. And then so then we look for how do we find the trap traders, you know, or late buys and just smack price against them, you know.
Okay. So essentially, what you mean about late buyers is that those big volume spikes. Those big volume spikes. That's what you mean by those late buyers.
That's it. Yeah, it's the folks.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Sorry, so many questions. Yeah.
No, man. I mean, that's how we learn. You know, I mean, this stuff is not easy. It's not easy at all. So more folk, you know, the more times we can go through this stuff, better off we are, man. And it helps doing this shit live, right? Like you guys were understanding, you know, what my thoughts were, what I was thinking, what I was seeing, you know, and see how some of this stuff plays out live, you know, and it's pretty sporty. I think it helps understand it a little bit better, you know. Because hell, anybody can trade hindsight, you know. Well, guys, if y'all are good, I'm good here. I'm gonna take it easy the rest of the day, I believe.
Hey, thank you for the help.
Hey, no problem, guys.
So much for taking the time, Magnum. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, no problem, man. Hope y'all have a good one. See you.
You too, sir. Take care.
Max, yeah.